folks like BG&E?
I don't have I've been doing this 20 years. People can look at my record and look at our actions.
As part of any security guarantee, there will not be U.S. troops deployed to Ukraine.
Is going to speak up.
While most mainstream media focused on Elon Musk and his fight against corrupt federal agencies, our favorite governor held a press conference in Altadena.
The concerns that have been raised as it relates to the possible and potential culpability, of which no one has assessed that. No one. Anyone asserts that is asserting things without evidence. I don't think that. I know that on the basis of a deeply independent investigation that has profound economic consequences.
And once again, this shady dude didn't forget to remind us of his goals.
That it is possible to rebuild, and rebuild better, rebuild more strategically, rebuild with redundancies as it relates to life safety in mind, the infrastructure, the utilities, all of those investments, the life safety, but the materials, the kind of architecture that needs to be done here to make sure these are climate resilient structures.
It's almost like they don't even see how much America hates this phrase. But I think he is aware of our hatred for this World Economic Forum agenda, and he's only saying this conditions us because those fire-torn areas are never going to be the same ever again.
Joe Biden calls it Build Back Better.
Build back better.
Building back better.
To do things differently. To build back better.
We're going to build it back better.
And build it back better.
It's my plan to build back better.
Start taking all the problems that have been created in education and mental health and start to build back in a positive way.
But today, I'm not going to tell you about their land-grabbing tactics. Today, I'm going to show you how a few companies bought the California governor for a little over $10 million. It all comes from this report published by an organization called Open the Books, and their findings were shocking to say the least. According to the report, 979 companies paid $10.6 million in political donations to Gavin Newsom during his 2010, 2018 recall election and 2022 election cycle. And collectively, these vendors have received $6.3 billion in state payments. Folks, if that's not the greatest investment of this century, I don't know what is. But this isn't even the worst thing. It's the fact that the governor has been protecting some of these companies as if he worked for them. I mean, utility providers SoCal Edison and its parent company are facing multiple lawsuits related to the Eaton fire.
The lawsuit is accusing SoCal Edison of causing the deadly fire in Altadena. SoCal Edison claims it's still too early to determine the cause.
This real-time video is the strongest evidence yet showing sparks falling. Then, 10 minutes later, the entire hillside is ablaze.
Hey, babe, I need you to come out here right now.
Oh no! Oh my God. No! Bye.
But Gavin still won't hear a word against them.
I was deeply involved as it relates to the Camp Fire, and the reason I start there, that led to the bankruptcy of the largest IOU, investor-owned utility in the United States of America, Pacific Gas and Electric. The process to get them out of bankruptcy led to the creation of a wildfire fund. That fund was set up with 3 IOUs that participated, including Edison, that have been paying into the wildfires fund to create a contingency that would allow them to access the resources and the dollars in that fund for precisely the concerns that have been raised as it relates to the possible and potential culpability, of which no one has assessed that. No one. Anyone asserts that is asserting things without evidence. I don't think that. I know that on the basis of a deeply independent investigation that has profound economic consequences and a lot of litigants attached to it in terms of its ultimate determination. So I'm not predetermining anything.
Why do you think that is? Maybe because Edison International and its subsidiaries gave $67,850 to Newsom in campaign donations. Additionally, the company's trade association, Edison Electric Institute, donated $15,000 to Newsom's 2018 race. Keep in mind that the Eaton fire killed at least 17 people, destroyed more than 9,000 buildings, and is the 5th deadliest and the 2nd most destructive wildfire in the history of the state of California. It also turned Altadena into this.
So this is downtown Altadena. Looks a lot like the Palisades where I was last night. There's media out here, but really no one else. There's a hardware store. I mean, it's just block after block that looks like this. There don't seem to be as many really big fires still raging here as what I saw last night in the Palisades, but it's still really, it's just awful. I mean, this whole area, it looks like this. It's just gone pretty much.
And now Newsom stands in Altadena and talks as if he's a spokesperson for the company that likely started this fire. But this isn't even the first time he's done this. PG&E pleaded guilty to starting the Paradise Fire that took 85 innocent lives and destroyed a beautiful community.
Today, Pacific Gas and Electric pled guilty to being responsible for the Camp Fire in Northern California, which led to the deaths of 84 people.
This evil company has also been responsible for 4 major fires in wine country that combined destroyed over 8,900 buildings and killed 22 people. And it was $30 billion in liabilities for the wildfires. But instead of making PG&E pay and shutting it down for good, Newsom prioritized shielding this cursed company over securing justice for wildfire victims impacted by the secretive process. And why did he do it? Well, it probably had something to do with the fact that PG&E gave Newsom $123,929 in donations for the 2018 election. The company also gave $358,000 between 2011 to 2018 to Newsom's wife, Jennifer Seibel Newsom's charity. But the governor says it's just a coincidence and dismisses the allegations every single time.
Governor, what's your reaction to a federal judge's probing of PG&E's political spending in California and specifically to your campaign?
I think all of that's what you're
PG&E was convicted of 6 federal felonies in 2016. After that, you took more than $200,000 to help get elected. How should people trust you to be running the show to come up with the solutions?
I wish you luck with whatever you're working on.
Out of it, how can you assure those people, including the fire victims, that your office can act neutrally, considering that PG&E donated more than $208,000 to help you get elected?
If the suggestion is somehow I'm influenced by that, you're wrong. Absolutely unequivocally wrong.
Look, there's a long list of shady companies that have given money to Gavin Newsom's campaigns and have received quite a lot in return. That's why I'll link the article so you can read it yourself. I'm going to focus on another story related to LA fires that's also not received any attention from the legacy media. Karen Bass has hired Haggerty Consultants to aid the recovery efforts. Now, there is so much to unpack about this firm. For instance, according to a DOJ press release, Mark O'Mara, a disaster relief consultant, pled guilty to fraud in connection with his work for an Illinois-based consulting firm that provided Hurricane Sandy-related recovery services to the city of New York. Now, after some sleuthing, I found out that Mark isn't just a consultant. He's a director of recovery at Haggerty Consultants. And he's the second guy from this firm who has pleaded guilty to committing fraud during the recovery process after Hurricane Sandy. And when a reporter raised this issue with Karen Bass, she just said this.
This is for Mayor Bass. Can you tell us about Haggerty Consulting what their role is in the recovery, why they were chosen, why it was done behind closed doors, and if you're not concerned about their record, given that some Haggerty consultants pleaded guilty to defrauding New York City in the Hurricane Sandy rebuilding.
Well, Haggerty is a world-renowned disaster recovery firm that has a long track record in the state of California. We wanted to collaborate again, the collaboration that you see here. We want to keep that collaboration with the county, and so the county and the city are aligned with Haggerty, and they will do the overall project management, and we are confident in their ability to get the job done.
Now, interestingly, this firm has been involved in recovery efforts in the aftermath of pretty much every disaster since 2001, when it was founded by Steve Haggerty. And Steve here used to be a mayor who took part in the Mayor Helping Mayors program, which was funded by George Soros and his Open Society foundations. I guess now you can see why Karen Bass chose this firm. I truly wonder how she's still in office, but then again, that's California for you. Now, moving on, I want to ask a question. Should we pass a law to retire some of these politicians who are clearly not fit for any office but just won't retire? I mean, we all know about Mitch McConnell.
Did you hear the question, Senator? Running for re-election in 2026? All right, I'm sorry, you all. We're going to need a minute. Senator. Penny.
And now we have John Larson experiencing a similar shutdown.
Don't worry, no one on the Republican side in the House and Senate who control both the House and Senate is going to speak up and challenge us.
I mean, if you can serve, that's great. But if you're having problems, shouldn't there be a way to just force them to quit? And while we are speaking of old politicians unable to perform their duties, let's see how Senator Katie Britt absolutely dunked on Elizabeth Warren during a recent hearing.
We are at an unprecedented moment. Our financial systems are facing huge risks from the economic chaos of President Trump and his co-president, Elon Musk.
President Trump ran on this. I mean, he said, we're going to look for wasteful spending across our government. We're $36 trillion in debt, y'all. That's not only fiscally irresponsible, it is actually morally irresponsible. And the difference in this administration and the last administration is that President Trump is actually the final arbiter. And it's interesting that none of you had anything to say over the last 4 years when it is clear that our commander-in-chief was not in command. And if we're going to use the term co-president, then let's go back and say co-president Jake Sullivan, co-president Ron Klain, co-president Jill Biden. I mean, it seems that some of the biggest decisions were made during the president's afternoon nap time. And so I just think we need to be a little bit more honest about what's been laid out and what's actually occurring.
It surely was epic. Now, this campaign against Elon and Doge is not slowing down. I mean, just listen to what Chuck Schumer said about it.
We also know this is just the beginning. If Doge attacks USAID today, then you can be sure they'll move on to another target tomorrow. Who knows? Maybe it'll be the Postal Service or the IRS or even the Social Security Administration. They could be next.
Sir, it will be a blessing if he starts investing in our national security agencies. The kind of stuff Doge has already uncovered so far makes me wonder if maniacs are running our institutions. Now, I'm going to end this video by talking about Ukraine because it looks like, thankfully, that war is also coming to an end. Now, what I really want to show you is this statement from Pete Hegseth.
We want, like you, a sovereign and prosperous Ukraine. But we must start by recognizing that returning to Ukraine's pre-2014 borders is an unrealistic objective. Chasing this illusionary goal will only prolong the war and cause more suffering. A durable peace for Ukraine must include robust security guarantees to ensure that the war will not begin again. This must not be Minsk 3.0. That said, the United States does not believe that NATO membership for Ukraine is a realistic outcome of a negotiated settlement. Instead, any security guarantee must be backed by capable European and non-European troops. If these troops are deployed as peacekeepers to Ukraine at any point, they should be deployed as part of a non-NATO mission, and they should not be covered under Article 5.
So basically, he's saying that Europe will be responsible for Ukraine's safety. They can send their troops there, but in case the war starts again, it won't turn into a world war. And most importantly, US soldiers won't be sent into that horrible conflict. I think we can all appreciate that. Now, don't forget to tell me what you guys think about this Los Angeles situation. Feel free to share your thoughts with everyone in the comments section below. As always, thanks for watching today's video, and I'll see you in the next one.